Hey, this is Robert. Thank you for tuning into the show once again. Today we have somebody that you might have recognized at least in the Sonic sphere, but also kind of like on social media. But this is Olivia or Livy. Do you go by either or?
I go by Liz.
Yeah, Liv. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, I'm just really happy that we're doing this today. And we're just vibing.
Nice. Happy to be here.
Yep, anytime. So I guess to start this off, like, how's everything going? Just talk a little bit about what you've been up to, just anything that you want to discuss. Yeah, let's just get the show going.
Sure. I actually recently moved out of California a few months ago in July.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I moved to Denver. I'm living in Denver now. I have an working in trade show management. We're starting our own podcast about trade show management called Booth Banter. I've been doing very well. I just did something for Polly Pocket with Mattel, a bunch of stop motion shorts.
Nice.
I play
Nice.
Lila, and you can see the little stop motion shorts on Polly Pocket's YouTube channel. They're a lot of fun. They're really cute. I've been just vibing.
I know, yeah. Well, I just want to wish you congrats on the Mattel thing. How you pronounce it, but yeah, for Polly Pocket, I just want to say congrats to that.
Thank
And
you.
also just doing a lot of stuff for just a lot of these different companies and stuff. So yeah, at least you've been kind of keeping the momentum going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know we were kind of literally just talking before we got on here that yeah, because you got your start like doing voice acting on the internet and stuff. So tell us about how that little I don't want to say how did you get started, but more like so would you say that the VO kind of bug bit you, so to speak?
Well, if we want to go way, 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 way back, like maybe
Oh
like
yeah,
in
going way.
2000, in 2000, in 2002 or 2001, when I was just like 6 or 7 years old, I was I would just mute the TV and I would just dub over whatever. I would just say complete nonsense and dub over and just say poopy pee 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 poo poo, just immature stuff, dubbing over Hey Arnold or something like that. And then I started getting into it as a hobby around like 16, 17 years old, so somewhere around 2009, 2010. And my first thing that I did was a show called Sonic F with Sonic Paradox. And play the coon. I did the voice for him, and I continue to help out with Sonic Paradox with some stuff. I do some Gokun stuff for them. Fast forward, I went to a few schools for film, and I realized that I just really loved acting. I loved voiceover, and my love of voiceover stemmed from my love of animation in general. So I grew up with a lot of cartoons. Again, Hey Arnold was one of them. Teen Titans was a big one for me. I loved video games, even like since I was a kid. One big game that got me into voiceover in general was the Halo series. Jen Taylor voicing Cortana in general really got me into voiceover. I When I went into college, I decided I wanted to do it professionally. I started my first professional job was a visual novel called Brilliant Shadows, book one of the book of part one of the Book of Grey Magic. I played King Prudence, and then I started doing more and more voiceover stuff professionally. Um, did a little tiny show for DreamWorks TV. It was called DreamWorks TV at the time. Now it's Peacock Kids. Two shows I did for them was Beefcake Boys and Jello Bobs. And then moved to California in 2019, and there I got my first lead role. I played the main character Ezel in Onyx Equinox for Crunchyroll, which was amazing. It was incredible being part of that show. And I met some really wonderful people working on that show. Um, some of my best friends have worked on that show. And then, yeah, from there, I did other cool things. I was on a ride for Not Scary Farm. Um, called the Calico Candy Mine Ride. Um, I was the Pink Fairy slash witch, which went on Not Scary Farm from 2022 to 2024. And yeah, I've done a few things, and I recently got into trade show management, so that's what I've been doing more of nowadays. But I still do voiceover. I'm still with my agent, and I'm still kicking it.
Yeah, that's a pretty great story because I think my story is kind of like the same. Like I would just kind of dub over with, and I didn't even know that it was even a term for it, but we would just kind of make up some silly stuff. Like it's kind of like something that you kind of find on like the real time fan dubs or something like that, where they just kind of improv the entire thing just in one sitting. But that was just kind of like something that I used to do all the time, and then I found out, oh, you can actually do this as like not just as a hobby, but you can actually do this for for a living. So I kind of got this Blue Yeti microphone, like that's still sitting right over there. Yeah, I have that for about
Nice.
8 years. Yeah, I'm just kind of sentimental like that. So yeah, then I upgraded to this little setup that you see behind me. Yeah, so I've just been at it for about 8-ish or so. Yeah, just still going on. And then for Sonic Paradox, since you just mentioned them, because we were literally just talking about them before we even just got on the call, where I just started watching them when I was like 9 or 10, and now I just did voices. I did a couple of different stuff for them. Like, let me see. I know I've worked with some animators, not specifically for like the Sonic shorts, but just on other projects for them. And I even worked with some of the voice actors for a promo that I did last year, and you might hear a couple of them for this year's promo as well. So stay tuned for that. I don't know when that's going to be out, because I'm doing it for like the online event. It's probably going to be a little later. So yeah, that's just
Okay.
how projects kind of go now. Always good to be fashionably late, but yeah, just did a couple of different stuff like outside of Sonic. Just doing a couple of different. I've been auditioning for a lot more audiobooks. I just got a couple that are just sent to me not too long ago. That I probably might just knock out either tonight or sometime over the week next week. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, just doing a lot more of that
Nice.
stuff, doing new demos. So that's just coming along pretty nice. Just gotta always update your stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always
Yeah.
updating. I'm always auditioning. Still on the grind, you know?
Exactly. I still am auditioning every single day. I just literally did some today, and now I'm probably gonna knock out some like right after this. So it just never, I'm just really grateful for the work, but yeah, it just never ends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hear that.
that's how it is. Yeah, because when you do something, it's like, oh, I'm just doing this just as a silly little hobby, and then it just kind of becomes like, oh, you got to do this, and it needs to be turned in at this deadline, and yeah, just got to do the adult stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I wish you could be like a professional procrastinator and get paid to doing that, but yeah, that's not how it works. But yeah, speaking of like Sonic, was that always something that because you played like, video games and watched animated shows, was Sonic kind of like a big part of your life? Just kind of curious.
Funnily enough, I didn't get into Sonic until I was 15 years old.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
I got into Sonic after seeing the death of Cosmo on Sonic X.
Oh,
Um, and I was like,
man.
dang, Sonic could be deep. Sonic could be sad. And
I
I got
mean,
really sad about that.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know if you've seen like, I don't know, Sonic Adventure 2 or just yeah, Shadow, yeah,
yeah,
that
with
stuff.
Maria and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think that was kind of like
Um,
the first time I was like, oh wow. Or even some of the really old Archie comics, like way back in the day.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got it. I really got into Archie. I went down the Sonic rabbit hole after
Yep.
discovering Sonic X. I love the Archie comics. I was a big fan of Ian Flynn before he really took off.
Oh
Um,
man, yeah. Going way
yeah,
back. Mhm.
yeah.
Actually, I had him on my show before. Like it was years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Ian
Yeah,
Flynn
he's
seems
super
like a really
chill.
cool guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I discovered that my favorite character is not Shadow, not Sonic, not Knuckles, not Tails, but
Silver.
my no, my favorite is the entire three of the Chaotix. That includes Charmy the Bee.
Yep.
I love
Hmm.
them. I love them so much. They're my favorites. So I have a friend who worked on the IDW cover for worked I think the entire comic, but I'm not sure. Chris, they worked on the IDW Chaotix issue that just came out. Um, that was awesome. So I'm really happy for them, and it Chaotix are just so funny to me. They're great. Vector's great. SBO is my favorite out of the three of them. Um, but yeah, I've done actually a couple of other Sonic stuff, like parody stuff. I was in what was it? Smash Bits. I was Rouge in that one.
Does
Um,
that ring a bell?
and then
Smash Bros.
I did something for Moogie Mikey. I was one of the first
Oh,
people to
yeah.
voice Sticks.
Oh my gosh.
Sticks in a parody, so that was pretty fun. Yeah, Moogie Mikey cracks me up. So
His
yeah,
stuff is so
I did.
funny. Definitely not safe for. I mean, some of his stuff might be a
No,
little bit too
very very
close, but yeah,
NSFW. Yeah, it would not
yeah,
fly today.
nah, yeah. I
No,
would not
no, no,
promote
no,
it
no, no,
on
no, no,
here. Nah,
no,
unfortunately.
no. Yeah. But yeah, I did that, and yeah, there's a lot of Sonic stuff that I really got into. Love the movies. I think that when they announced the movies, I firmly believe that Sonic would translate well into film because
Yeah,
the story is so open
yeah,
to interpretation that you can do so many stories. It doesn't need to follow the video game plot exactly. Like something with like The Last of Us or the Halo series or something like that, it needs to be a TV show. But with Sonic, you can make a movie for it, and
yeah,
yeah, the third movie is awesome. Like the second and third movies are great. The first one's good too, but I really like the second and third movies. Yeah,
yeah. I think I've shared with some people. Like, I think I might have said it on air, but I really do think that, well, for me, the movies is kind of like, well, it's kind of like a take it or leave it type of thing. So I kind of find myself sort of in the middle-ish where there's stuff that I do like about the movies, but then there's kind of like the other half that I'm just like, no. So
yeah.
that's,
It's
yeah,
mostly with the humans. It's mostly with the
yeah,
humans.
yeah, because like honestly, if it was, boy, it's gonna sound really terrible when I say this, but it was just with like, and that's kind of like another reason that I didn't really get into Sonic X at first. Well, it's like, come on, just being in a human world, like, I mean, it's not that Sonic has always interacted with humans, like when you look at the adventure games, for instance, but. I'm just
Yeah,
like, if it takes focus away from like Sonic, Tails, and the rest of them, that's where you kind of lose me. Um,
yeah. I get you.
yeah,
Yeah,
but no, I kind of think that the first one kind of had that balance. The second, sorta. I haven't seen the third one, so I don't know how that is. Um, yeah, still to this
yeah,
day, I know somebody that I had on here, Brenna Thornton. Yeah, I just had her on, and it's probably gonna come out at some point. But I know she's probably gonna be like, "You still have not seen the movie," and I'm just like, "Bro, have you not seen the stuff that I'm already doing for people? Come on." But
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
get to it. And it's like, that's one of the downsides too when you're doing voice acting, kind of like when you're doing this full time professionally. It's like when you start working on a lot of the stuff that you kind of grew up with, it's like, oh man, so it's like I gotta watch another thing just for to study and steal from actors. And that's kind of homework
yeah,
for me. So it's, yeah. But recently, though, I've just been playing Breath of the Wild because I genuinely do. Like for Zelda, because I genuinely do love that game, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I can kind of take a little bit of this and do it for my series. Haha. So, um, you just never know. You just get inspiration from anywhere. But going back to the Sonic thing, yeah, so the movies, I really do feel that there's a lot of people that genuinely do love them, and there's a lot that really don't like them. And I've met my fair share of people that are just kind of indifferent about these. I mean, I've met those that actually do legitimately make some really good points of why they don't like the movies, but then there's also people that generally do love this thing, which I mean, I've talked about it with somebody just recently where it's like, look, if you do like the thing, that's fine. And if you don't like it, I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like, there's a big group of people out there that genuinely do love the movies. They also like the IDW, Frontiers, or just any of the new stuff that is out there. And I'm kind of from the age that kind of came from the Genesis, Dreamcast, because that's kind of how I got into it, like way back when. So, of course, the Sonic that I'm seeing right now is not necessarily the same as like how I grew up with the character, but you know what? If it appeals to a lot of people, then hey, I'm not just tooting anybody's horn. I'm not just gonna be like the stick in the mud. Like if you love this stuff, that's totally fine. I mean, like, look, uh, a lot of the Sonic stuff, which you can't see because the sun right here. Yeah, all of this stuff. Like, I still really do love when you go to Sonic Revolution, which I'm pretty sure we met at one point at Revo, but yeah, when you go to Revolution, you get, and what I really love about it, and even for Sonic Expo coming up, which I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, you're going to get entire generations of Sonic fans. See what I did there? Like
yeah.
generations of just fans from that grew up in the 90s, people that grew up during the dark ages. And trust me, there's a huge resurgence for the like '06 Unleash, Black Knight, and the storybook stuff. But, and then you have people that are just now getting into it from the Frontiers, like, let's see, the meta era, as we kind of call it now. There's like whole different Sonic fans that came from all of these different, like, eras of Sonic. And it's just so fascinating to just hear so many different perspectives from those that grew up in a certain time period. And if they like the originals but don't really like the new stuff or vice versa, that's kind of what makes this really unique because if everybody was the same, it would just be so absolutely boring. Just
Yeah,
straight up.
definitely. Art is very subjective.
Yeah, it
And
is super subjective. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it's interesting because, like I said, if I got into Sonic as a child, I'd probably be in the Genesis era. Probably, I was born. I was born 2 years after Sonic debuted, so 1993. Um, so
Awesome. Yeah.
um, so I grew up more of a Mario person.
Yeah,
Mario.
that's what I was about to. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a Mario and a Halo person. Um, when Halo
Yeah.
came out in 2001, I was 8 years old and I loved it. It was the game that
Yeah. Oh
made
my
me
gosh.
say
Yeah.
video games are art. And
Yeah.
I could go on about Halo, about its lore and characters and music and just
I mean,
everything about
this is
Halo.
a
But
podcast about it, so yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, Halo. Halo, yeah, like I said, Sonic, I didn't get into until probably 2008, 2007. That was the second video game anime I saw. The first video game anime I got really into was Kirby Right Back at You, or Hoshi no
Yeah.
Kabi.
Yeah.
Um, but with Halo, just the characters and everything, um, the way that Halo Combat Evolved was advertised, specifically Combat Evolved, they were very secretive of what it was really about. And people didn't know, spoiler if you've never played Halo Combat Evolved, it actually goes into a horror game midway through. And it gave me nightmares as a kid, but it was awesome. And I was like really invested into the story, even though it was very simple. The characters were simple. And then when Halo 2 came out, I just blew my mind. Like there was more to this. Like, oh my God, the elites can talk. Oh my God, like we get to play as an elite. We get to like the music is like even better. Like, I really I the original Bungie trilogy from 1 to 3 and then Halo Reach is so special to me. Um, and I had the privilege of going to Halo Discovery Outpost in Anaheim in 2019, and it was right after I had surgery, like literally a month after I had cancer surgery, and um, what happened was I was not in the best shape. I was kind of like paranoid and like about my body and everything, and paranoid about my well being, and I was waking up with panic attacks every day. Um, but I went to Halo Outpost anyway because I just needed to get my mind off of things. And Jen Taylor, the voice of Cortana, and Steve Downes, the voice of Master Chief, was there, and they were doing a panel, and they called people up to read some of the scripts with them. So I volunteered. I got called up, and I got to read the intro to the two betrayals with them. So I got to play as 343 Guilty Spark, and Steve Downes was Master Chief, and Cortana was Jen Taylor was Cortana. Man, that was surreal. Surreal. I don't get starstruck easily, but like I was like just being up there reading this staple of my childhood. This that I knew for like the I knew the script verbatim of the whole intro. Um, Reading it with two icons of my childhood was incredible to me. And I really had a fun time doing that. It really like lifted my spirits. Um, no, it was just an amazing time. And I also did like Halo panels back in the day at conventions. I've been going to conventions since 2007, and I did like Halo lore panels, just talking about the lore and the books and the anime that came out in 2010. Um, yeah. Again, I love Halo so much. It's what shaped me as a voice actor. It's what it set the bar for me in terms of voiceover performances. Halo 4, especially the performances in Halo 4, amazing, impeccable. Um, I just yeah, I study a lot of performances from video games, mostly because that's we're going into the realistic read era of voiceover, where a lot of shows nowadays, like BoJack Horseman, just recently, Haunted Hotel. What was it? Another recent show that came out. Long story short, that's the same creator as BoJack Horseman, Raphael Bob Waksberg, I think his name is. But they're
For remembering
all
his name, because I can't even get it right.
and oh, I love this one. I'm blanking on the name. Common Side Effects. Common Side Effects is like my favorite right now. But they're all leaning in towards the realistic read, which is very essential nowadays for voiceover. And um, nowadays, I say nowadays because voiceover is always changing, and with voiceover, you always need to adapt to things. It's all about adaptability um, in the voiceover business, just adapting to these styles. Because like back in the day, when you did like commercials, they sound more announcery and buy now and blah 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 blah.
Buy this Sunday, 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 blah blah blah. Yeah.
Exactly. But with more commercials nowadays, they're like, well, for more information, just call this number and blah 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 blah. Like, yeah.
They're so
So,
specific. That I was just on another call with somebody just before this. We were just talking about commercial reads. because they do want those realistic, hey, you're talking to your friend or you're talking to a mom or yeah,
They
they're
always
so
say that.
specific about it. Yeah, but it's like with animation, like with cartoon character, just basically what you do for Volcon for Sonic Gap is like, they can kind of, how can I put this? Like, you gotta have a little bit more of like a creative, like you can kind of get a little bit looser and a little bit wacky with it. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do, I mean, I just did an audition where I kind of, and they also do this a lot too, where for us as an actor, we just kind of like to go with something that they might be looking for, but then just go with something that's kind of a little outside, but you still want to respect just, the character in a way, or just the script, or just giving it life, or just think outside the box a little bit. So that's kind of what
Yeah.
I did. And if I were to share one, and we'll probably talk about conventions in a little bit. So if I were to talk about one memorable voiceover experience, like of just coaching with somebody, definitely Richard Horvitz is definitely, like when you take classes with him, he's very big on playing pretending and what do you want, and just throw something, just throw spaghetti at a wall and see if that like little weird off-wall take is the one that's gonna be what they're looking for. Because most of the time they don't know what they're looking for. Because you
Right.
hear from people like Bob Bergen or Charlie Adler, like just people that I would just rave about, where they're also of the mindset of like, just really just thinking outside the box, coming up with something weird, and also just being just, spontaneous. And but it's kind of like it kind of also applies to commercial in a way where you could kind of come up with your own little take, but they're also really specific on just following what's already there, like what's already written on there. So don't just stray too far off, like improvise or just do anything like that. And this especially is the case with video games and just commercials where they're all about like the realism, like you were talking about. Um, and it's so interesting that you did bring up BoJack because, yeah, like with the more realism type of performances, it's something that also stood out to me because, I mean, when you watch a show like BoJack and then you turn to something like, I don't know, Rick and Morty or Smiling Friends or whatever adult animated show is out now, where they kind of have like more of like, but then for Smiling Friends even because they kind of blend in like, just kind of like these chill guys in this insane kind of crazy world. So it's like there's still gonna be like some crazy, characters and stuff there. And same with Rick and Morty for it in a way, but BoJack is kind of more realism and just have characters just go through these really depressing subject matters if I'm gonna be real. But yeah,
Yeah.
so you just gotta know what shows you're watching, who are the networks, the producers, the creators. Just gotta do your homework. And that's something
Yeah,
that kind of goes a
definitely.
long way. Like you're just like, oh, I don't want to do homework. Well, if you wanna be in your favorite stuff, you gotta do your little research. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Like what's something that's like if you're watching SpongeBob and then you turn around and you watch something like Teen Titans, like very, very different. Or just if you watch SpongeBob and then you watch something like Avatar. And those shows have had the same voice director, Andrea Romano, at some point.
Right.
Both of these are
Hmm.
very different shows because one is really, happy-go-lucky and it's really, bright and colorful, and the other just is kind of more anime inspired, more serious, and it's a long, continuous journey. Like SpongeBob is episodic. Avatar has like an arc going for it. It's like a whole story that's like in a season, like an entire series. So you gotta know what you're gonna be reading for. And that long spiel that I just did there, it's just why we just love doing what we love doing. We're just kind of nerds at this, of just the type of stuff. And you were just talking about Halo, just another good example. Like, what's something that's different about Halo is going to be so different from, say, Sonic or Mario? You just got to do your homework. And I'm just
Yeah,
really lucky
definitely.
that when we play the games, we are kind of doing our homework, but then we're also immersed into the storytelling, and the
Yeah.
characters, everything. So
Yeah.
conventions. I'm sorry, you continue.
Oh no, no, I did. I did. I just said yeah.
Yeah, for conventions, besides that, what would you say were all some of your most memorable experiences that you've had? Because you've been doing this since 2007. I started like 2017, so share your stories.
So my first convention ever was December 7th to the 8th, 2007. I was 14 years old. It was New York Anime Festival. No
Man,
longer a thing.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah, New
remember
York.
that. Now it's just New York Comic Con, which one of these days
Yeah,
I'll probably go. Yeah. I'm just in California. That's like, oh, way out in the other side, man. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I just do the LA ones. They're just more convenient and accessible to me right now. So continue.
New York Anime Festival, I fell in love with conventions. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the atmosphere. And
Yeah.
that was my foray into trade shows. And I one of the best shows I've ever been to was San Diego Comic Con in 2011, and that was for my 18th birthday and my graduation gift. I got to go. I was helping out with an animator named Bill Plimpton at the time, and I got to go to this activation for South Park season 15. And South Park is one of my favorite shows of all time. So I dressed up as Kenny, and they really took a liking to my Kenny costume, and they filmed me doing a bunch of stuff. I got to meet an amazing. I got to meet some amazing people at the show. I went to a Halo anniversary panel for its 10th anniversary, which was amazing. I got to see the first look at The Legend of Korra, which was also awesome. I saw Jeff
Yeah, it was
Bridges.
just coming out. Wow, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's a
just
throwback.
had yeah, I saw Captain America that weekend. That came out that weekend. I got to play
So
Mass
much
Effect
stuff happened in
3.
2011. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to
Yeah.
play Mass Effect 3 a little bit. It was a demo for Mass Effect 3 there, and I love Mass Effect. I can go on about Garrus. Right. I so I yeah, San Diego Comic Con was one of the best. One of the last anime conventions I ever went to, just as an attendee. I've worked at Anime Expo earlier this year. I was helping out with Beyblade
Oh man.
with their booth.
Yeah.
But as just as an attendee, I Anime Los Angeles was a lot of fun, and that was right
That
before the
is
pandemic started.
yeah.
So
Oh
in
my. I think
2020.
yeah. I think that was my last one
Um,
before everything just kind of shuttered
yeah,
for a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Had a great time at that convention. My favorite part is just getting with people, just hanging out with people, going to bars, just hanging out, having a good time, just shooting the shit, just bombing, just bonding with people, like just over
Yeah.
things that you had in common with, and just making these great lasting friendships. Like some of
Yeah.
I've some of my friends. I've known since 2008, still my friends today.
Yeah.
One
Mm.
person I helped out, like with the Beyblade, that I was helping out with a friend of mine, who I've known since I was 15. Yeah, and then I just fell in love with the trade show environment in general. So I started working for trade shows, and I work in, and like I said, I work in trade show management. I'm a show services coordinator at a trade show exhibit marketing agency. Um, I would love to manage video game trade show booths for like PAX East. PAX East was a lot of fun. That was a fun show. I worked at PAX East. MagFest was bomb. That was in at the Gaylord
I've
in
heard.
Nashville Harbor. That was a really fun one. I was there for MagFest in 2012 and 2013. Um, Funny story with the 2013 one. I brought my brother, who never went to a show ever, and shenanigans happened during that weekend. But man, MagFest is a party. Um, yeah, I've been to over probably 100 conventions at this point. Um, yeah, it was like between 2007 and 2012, 13, I would say was the peak years for conventions for me. So yeah.
Yeah. I'd say that like when I started going around 17 to around 18, 19, 20-ish, those are kind of like I don't want to say the peak, but that was kind of like when, everything was kind of like, really consistent and busy. And then, of course, COVID happened and a lot of them just kind of shut down and we're just still trying to like recuperate or recover
Oh
from
yeah.
yeah, all that. I will say my most favorite and memorable ones, definitely the Sonic Revolution convention, that I get to go to every year because, yeah, I got to meet so many. I think those are kind of like the first ones where I actually attended, and then I started going to more, and that's how I kind of started to get to know these people, and eventually they became my friends, and also started working on so many different projects together. People like Balloon Productions, Emmy Jones, Sonic Song, and so many others. Sasso, Luca Mikey. I could just go on and on and on, man. I think my favorite as of recent, um, getting to meet Tom Kenny, Rob Paulson, so many of these childhood staples of mine, Jim Cummings, Charles Martin, like a lot of people this year alone. That's just been a huge highlight for me. I still have Tom's signature on this SpongeBob puzzle piece, and I'm just like, man, my childhood, bro. Like, dude, it's just
Yeah.
kind of like coming full circle, man. And
It's
then
so much
eventually,
fun.
yeah, and then eventually getting to coach with Lori Allen, who voices Pearl, and then was also
Hmm.
on Metal Gear and Family Guy and so many different shows. It's just kind of just surreal, just getting to listen to these people since you were a child, and then getting to work with them when you're an adult is like, man, I just can't
It's amazing.
picture. Yeah, I know it's kind of like the case
It,
for me. Yeah, it's like I
it's an
said,
amazing
like
opportunity.
working with Sonic Paradox and just getting to work with a lot of these animators is just, man, I just still can't believe
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
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 I guess
Sonic
on,
Revolution.
yeah,
Yeah, Sonic Revolution was definitely a really fun one.
yeah.
I
That was
will
the.
admit I was a little bit inebriated. Yeah.
Mm,
If you see me on stage, I'm a little bit like because it was the first time. It's the only time I ever went to a convention as a guest. So because I had a little bit of social anxiety. So if you see me on the stage in Sonic Revolution 2019, you can just see me. I'm just like, but yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a fun time.
yeah. Well, I guess on that note, we've talked about a lot of different stuff in about 30 minutes. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. And yeah, can we hear like a little goodbye or little Volcon just to close us out for today?
Goodbye, everybody.
That was so great. It's so unfortunate about Zoom's audio thing, but I'm pretty sure we got
The
it.
musicians. Oh, you know what? Here, hold on a second. There we
Okay.
go. Goodbye, everybody. Top down. There we
E,
go.
we got that one. Yeah, and I wish we talked about some of your other voiceover stuff, but we kind of already went over it, just history and stuff. So regardless, thank you for watching. Stick around next time on Station Square whenever the next episode comes out because my skin, dude, the holiday crunch is just so real. Like, first off,
Definitely.
happy early Halloween to those who celebrate or whatever y'all are gonna do this year. Do people still trick or treat anymore? I don't even know.
Go to Not Scary Farm.
Totally, boom, there you go. Totally not sponsored, or is it? Mm, hire us. But anyways, happy early holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, blah. But thank you, and I'll see you all next time at Station Square. Peace out, and God bless you. God
Bye.
bless. Bye bye. Let's go.